bronze gears, 2,000 years old, and nothing this complex would be built again for another 1,400 years. This is the story of a machine that arrived 1,000 years too early, and the silence that swallowed it. Left hidden in the spring of 1900, sponge divers sheltered from a storm off a barren rock called Antikythera. When they finally went down, they surfaced in a panic. The seabed was littered with bodies. Not bodies, bronze and marble statues from a Roman era wreck 100 feet down. Among the treasure they raised was one dull green lump. It sat in an Athens museum, ignored for 2 years. Then, in 1902, an archaeologist noticed something impossible in the corrosion. A gear machine cut teeth sunk in 2,000-year-old bronze. Gears like this belong to the age of clockwork, 13 centuries in the future. So the question is not what it is. It is how 1,000 years too early. Turn a single handle on its side and the box computes the sky. On the front, one dial holds the entire cosmos as the Greeks knew it. A ring for the zodiac. A ring for the 365-day Egyptian year. Pointers for the sun and the moon. For the 5 planets, they could see Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. A little sphere, half silver and half black, turns to show the phase of the moon. Turn the crank and the back of the box comes alive. One spiral counts the months. Another counts the years between eclipses. A small subsidiary dial even marks the 4-year Olympiad. The games at Olympia, Delphi, Nemea is not a clock. A clock keeps the hour. This kept the heavens. Fold the sky into a box of bronze. Maker had to turn astronomy into arithmetic and cut that arithmetic into metal. A gear cannot know astronomy. It knows one thing, a ratio, teeth in, teeth out. So every rhythm in the sky had to be reduced to a fraction. 3 of those rhythms matter. 1, the moon returns to the same phase 230. 5 times in exactly 19 years. The Greeks called it the Metonic cycle. Eclipses return on a rhythm of 223 months. The Saros. 3. The moon does not move at a steady pace. It races when it is near and lags when it is far. Encode all 3 in bronze with hand cut teeth. You have not built a clock. You have built a theory of the heavens. For a century, no one could prove how deep that theory went. The bronze was too corroded to open, too fragile to read. Then in 2005, a team rolled an 8-tone X-ray scanner up to the fragments. Micro. Focus tomography looked straight through the metal, and the hidden gears and thousands of Greek letters lit up. Start with the Metonic cycle, 230. 5 months in 19 years. Turn one pointer 230. 5 times while another turns 19. You need a train of gears whose ratios multiply out to 230, 5/19. The mechanism gets there through a wheel of 220, 3 teeth, and another of 127. 127 is exactly half of 254, the number of times the moon laps the stars in 19 years. That is not a round number a craftsman would guess. It is astronomy solved. For eclipses, the maker cut a spiral of 220, 3 cells, 1 cell for each month of the Saros, stamped a glyph on every month an eclipse could fall. Solar here, lunar there. The coordinate hidden. A pointer crawls the spiral and tells you, years ahead, when the sky will go dark. A smaller dial, the Exeligmos, even adds back the 8 hours the Saros leaves out. Then, the hardest problem of all, the moon's uneven speed. Cold half-thousand it hidden. You cannot get uneven motion out of round gears turning evenly. So, the maker mounted 2 gears on slightly different centers, link them with pin riding in a slot. As the wheels turn, the pin slides in and out, and the output races and lags exactly the way the moon does in the sky. That is the lunar theory of Hipparchus, the sharpest astronomy of the age, turned into moving metal. Every ratio checks out against the real sky. The numbers are not decoration, and they are not approximate. They are the cosmos reduced to fractions and made to turn. 1,000 years too early kept it hidden. So the gears had never been the mystery. The mystery is the mind behind them. Whoever designed this did not copy a pattern. They understood the Metonic cycle, the Saros, and the anomaly of the moon as numbers, and then engineered those numbers into brass. That is the definition of a computer, a physical machine that runs a calculation you could never hold in your head. The first computer we know of is not medieval, not Renaissance, not modern. It is Greek, built around a century before Christ. The month names engraved on its dials are Corinthian, the calendar of Syracuse. Hidden, Syracuse, the city of Archimedes, who was said to have built a bronze model of the heavens. Others read the fingerprints of Rhodes and of Hipparchus himself. We will never know the maker's name. We only know the mind was there. And here is what should keep you up at night. After this machine, the trail goes cold. Nothing of this complexity appears again for more than 1,000 years. The next real gear devices come from the Islamic world. Around the year 1000, Al-Biruni describes how gears could drive a calendar of sun and moon. The oldest one that survives, complete, is a geared astrolabe from Isfahan from 1221. That is 1100 years of silence. Then, in medieval Europe, the great astronomical clocks are born. Richard of Wallingford builds one at Stay Albans in the 1330s. Giovanni di Dundee spends 16 years on his astrarium, finished in 1360, 7 faces, 107 parts, the sun, moon, and 5 planets. Sultan. 1400 years after Antikythera, Europe finally catches up to a Greek box of bronze. That gap is the size of the silence. The Antikythera mechanism was not the first step on a staircase. It was a staircase that led nowhere because the world that built it sank, and what it knew sank with it. It was 1,000 years too early. The sea kept it in the dark until we built machines clever enough to read it. Which leaves the only question that matters. 5,000 years, if a machine this far ahead could vanish so completely that we called it a rock for 2 years, what else did we lose? What else is still down there? Already solved, still waiting to be counted.